Have you ever wondered why certain people linger in your thoughts long after you've only spent a short time with them? It's a fascinating thing to consider. There's a deep, specific reason certain men stay on a woman's mind for days, weeks, even months after a first meeting. And it has almost nothing to do with the car they drive, the clothes they wear, or the balance in their bank account. Those things are surface level. They're like shiny gift wrap, eye-catching for a moment, but they don't leave any lasting impression on someone's heart. They don't create a real feeling. Looks and status might earn you a glance across a room, but they can't build genuine emotional connection. Only a small number of men truly grasp this. They understand that when you give a woman a genuine emotional experience to hold on to, you become unforgettable. You start living rent-free in her mind, and she finds herself thinking about you throughout her day. Today I want to pass along that understanding so you can apply it in your own life, so your dates can feel lighter and more natural once you stop trying to be something and simply start being yourself. Before we get into it, I'll mention that I've put together a set of resources and tools you can turn to whenever you want extra support, designed to help you build confidence from the inside, focused on the person you're becoming. Now let's talk about why we often get in our own way when meeting someone new and trying to spark attraction. Many men feel pressure to put on a performance, rehearsing every word, choreographing every move, treating the date like a scene in a movie they have to get right. They're terrified of a single misstep, desperate for everything to go perfectly. But here's the problem. When a date feels rehearsed, it feels hollow. There's no space left for anything real to happen. A woman can sense that. She can feel when you're not showing your true, imperfect self. And it creates an unease she may not be able to name. She might start wondering, why do I feel like I need to be perfect too? Why can't I just relax around this guy? That's because your energy is aimed at performing, not connecting. Rather than bringing you closer, the polished image you're projecting builds a wall between you, one that's hard to get past. The truth is, none of us are perfect. We all have quirks, odd habits, and moments where we trip over our own words. When you only show a flawless version of yourself, you leave no room for real attraction to take root. You end up shutting the door on the very thing you're chasing. That's why so many men are left puzzled, wondering why she never texted back, why the chemistry just wasn't there. Often it's because she could tell your confidence was something rehearsed in a mirror, not something rooted in genuine inner calm. The moment a woman senses you're trying to impress her, the entire dynamic shifts, and not for the better. She can feel that you're seeking her approval, and that need for validation tends to push people away rather than draw them in. It creates pressure, and pressure rarely feels good. The author Robert Greene touches on this in his book, The Art of Seduction. He points out that the most magnetic people are never the ones chasing approval. Instead, they carry what he calls emotional gravity. Picture gravity itself, the invisible force that keeps your feet on the ground and the moon in orbit. You can't manufacture it, it simply exists. Men with this quality carry quiet confidence. They don't need to raise their voice, boast, or perform. They're grounded, steady, calm, at ease in their own skin. Their confidence comes from authenticity, from knowing they have worth exactly as they are, without any extra flash. They know there's no one else quite like them in the world, and that's a powerful realization. When you carry yourself this way, you give a woman the chance to connect with the real you, not your job title, not your possessions. You don't treat your car or your house as more impressive than the man you are right now. Being someone who can laugh at his own mistakes and embrace his humanity is deeply appealing. That kind of energy is something people naturally gravitate toward. You could be the most striking man in the room, but if there's no depth behind it, it won't matter much. Good looks are like an attractive book cover, but if the pages inside are empty, no one keeps reading. What you need is substance. Think of substance as the warmth in a home, or the kindness behind someone's eyes. It's the inner quality that defines who you really are. Because women tend to be highly attuned to emotion, they need that substance to feel genuinely drawn in. They need to feel something to want to see you again. Your appearance is just one small piece of the puzzle. If you focus only on how you look while neglecting your character and mind, you'll be out of balance. And balance is what gives you the kind of presence that lets a woman feel truly comfortable being herself around you. There's a concept worth embracing here: the art of allowing. It means letting attraction unfold naturally, like a flower opening, rather than forcing it. Trying to force someone to like you is one of the surest ways to drive them off, like squeezing a butterfly too tightly in your hand. You risk crushing the very thing you wanted to hold on to. A genuinely confident man understands he can't control how someone else feels. He walks into every interaction thinking, "This is a chance to learn something new." He finds value in each person he meets, regardless of outcome, and uses the time to grow and to practice being a thoughtful communicator. He stops chasing validation and starts simply enjoying the present moment. One of the most attractive traits a person can have is authenticity. When you're honest and real about who you are, you offer the other person something valuable: permission to be real too. You make them feel safe. So many people today feel like they're not enough as they are, like they need to wear a mask to be accepted. When you show up with quiet confidence and genuine honesty, it's refreshing. It lets her guard come down. She doesn't feel the need to be flawless around you, because she sees that you're at peace with your own imperfections. That's what makes you stand out, because honestly, she's likely never met anyone quite like you. Being one of a kind is your greatest asset. I want to encourage you to get comfortable with a little discomfort. Showing your true self might feel risky at first. You might worry you're not polished enough. But trust this: authenticity creates a kind of attraction that's raw, real, and powerful. A connection that can't be faked or forced. The kind that actually lasts. When you stop performing and start simply existing as yourself, you become impossible to forget. You become the man who stays in her thoughts because you gave her something no one else did: an honest human connection. Here's something else worth understanding. When you walk into a room or a conversation feeling like you have to prove your worth, you're starting from a place of lack, telling yourself you're not enough as you are. That energy radiates outward, and people pick up on it. Women especially, often being highly perceptive emotionally, can sense when someone is trying too hard or putting on a front. And when they sense that, it doesn't pull them closer. It leaves them feeling a little drained, because they intuit that if you can't be genuine now, you probably won't be later. On the flip side, when you walk into that same room, knowing you have something worthwhile to offer just by being yourself, everything shifts. You're not there to beg for attention. You're there to share your time, your perspective, your humor, your presence, because you enjoy connecting with people and hearing their stories. That mental shift is powerful. It releases the pressure on both of you. She doesn't feel rushed to judge whether you're enough, and you don't feel like you're running through a script. Instead, you're just two people enjoying a shared moment. This is what it means to be present. It means you're not trapped in your head, worrying about her impression of you or replaying something you said 5 minutes ago. You're not mentally drafting your next 3 lines while she's still talking. You're right there with her, listening to her words, noticing the way her eyes light up, responding from a genuine place. That kind of presence is magnetic. It makes people feel seen and heard, and that's one of the most meaningful gifts you can offer. When someone feels truly seen by you, they remember it. They replay the conversation later with a smile, wondering when they might see you again. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what if I'm not interesting enough? What if I don't have impressive stories or achievements to share? Here's the thing. You don't need to be the most fascinating person in the room to be memorable. You just need to be interested. When you show real curiosity about someone, asking thoughtful questions and genuinely listening to their answers, you become someone meaningful to them. People love talking about their passions, dreams, and experiences. When you give them room to do that without competing for attention or steering things back to yourself, you're showing them respect and care. You're showing them they matter. That doesn't mean you should never talk about yourself. Of course, you should share your own stories and thoughts. But share them authentically, not to impress, but because they're genuinely part of who you are. When you open up about a time you failed or felt embarrassed, you're being vulnerable, and vulnerability is deeply attractive. It signals strength, not weakness. It shows you're secure enough to admit you're imperfect and still growing, just like everyone else. There's something else important to understand about how women experience attraction. For most women, attraction isn't an instant visual reaction the way it often is for men. Appearance plays a role, sure, but it's usually just a starting point. What truly builds attraction is how you make her feel over time. How you listen, how you laugh at her jokes, how you remember the small details she shares, how you make her feel safe and valued. These are the things that create deep, lasting attraction. These are the things that make her think of you when you're not around. That's why relying solely on looks, money, or status is such a shallow approach. Those things might catch her attention briefly, but they won't hold it. They won't create any real feeling, and without that, there's nothing for a connection to grow from. So instead of fixating on external factors, focus on becoming a man who's comfortable in his own skin. Focus on your character, your kindness, your humor, your ability to listen and communicate. These are the qualities that make you genuinely attractive, not just to one woman, but to people throughout your life. It's also worth remembering that confidence isn't about volume or dominating a conversation. Real confidence is quiet and calm. It doesn't need to prove anything. A confident man can sit in silence without discomfort. He can admit when he doesn't know something without feeling embarrassed. He can laugh at himself without fearing judgment. This kind of confidence comes from self-acceptance, from doing the inner work to understand who you are, what you value, and what you want from life. Once you have that clarity, the need for outside validation fades because you already know your own worth. I also want to touch on the value of having a life outside of dating. One of the most attractive qualities someone can have is their own passions, hobbies, and goals. When your life is full of things that excite and fulfill you, that energy carries into your interactions. You have things to talk about. You have a sense of direction. You're not looking for someone else to complete you or give your life meaning. You're already living fully and simply open to sharing that life with someone else. That's a very different energy from someone searching for a relationship out of emptiness or loneliness. When you have your own friends, interests, and pursuits, you're less likely to put someone on a pedestal or become fixated on whether they like you. You have other sources of joy and fulfillment, so you can approach dating with a relaxed, open mindset, getting to know someone without putting all your emotional weight on one outcome. That's healthy, and it's attractive. It shows you're a whole person on your own, not someone looking for another person to complete you. Thanks for taking the time to read through this. If it resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it, and I hope to share more thoughts with you soon. Remember, the most powerful thing you can do is stop trying to become who you think others want, and start embracing who you already are. That's where real connection begins, and that's what makes you unforgettable.